Hello everyone, welcome back to Too Sweet MTG and welcome to Cube Tuesdays. In today's episode we're going to be talking about Rabblemaster cards in Cube, what they do, why they're good and why you should be running them. So I guess firstly, what is a Rabblemaster card? A Rabblemaster card is an aggressive style of creature that repeatedly makes more creature tokens every combat step. If left unanswered, they can take control of a game of Magic by themselves. They come in, they swing, they make a token. Next turn, they swing again, they make more tokens. It snowballs really, really quickly. Generically, they tend to cost 2 and a red, but it doesn't actually limit them to that. You do have some options in white with Adeline and Hero of Bladehold as well. They are also Rabblemaster cards. They come down, they want to be attacking, and they make tokens that also want to be attacking during your combat step. For an example of a Rabblemaster card, we have Goblin Rabblemaster. It is 2 and a red for a 2/2 creature Goblin Warrior. Other Goblin creatures you control attack each combat if able. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 red Goblin creature token with haste, and whenever Goblin Rabblemaster attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking Goblin. So you can see how this is kind of like the board state in a can, and it can snowball really quickly. If left unanswered, this one card can win you the game. For example of a card that's not a Rabblemaster, we have something like Breyer's Apprentice. This comes down and makes a token, but it stops there. It comes down and only makes you one creature. We're looking for cards that come down and make you creatures turn after turn every time you're in your combat step. That doesn't mean a card like Breyer's Apprentice isn't good. It just means it's not a Rabblemaster card. In terms of decks that Rabblemasters can go into, one of the best things about them is that they are very versatile. They can go into a wide range of decks. The most obvious one is the mono-coloured aggro deck. If you're in mono-red, play a Rabblemaster, smash through, win the game. Same if you're in mono-white or like a Borisy combination of the two. Basically, if you're looking to curve out and smash face, these are awesome. Because Rabblemasters also tend to make a lot of tokens turn after turn, they go in token decks. Strategies that are trying to make a wider board state as possible and play something like an Anthem effect to pump them up. Those tokens also work really nicely in aristocrat style decks, because you can repeatedly make tokens, sack them to a sacrifice outlet, drain them with your Blood Artist style effect, and do it repeatedly turn after turn, because these Rabblemasters continually are making you that board state. They're also good in your more stompy style of decks, things that want to play fast mana, like things that want to play like an Ancient Tomb to try and get one of these out on like turn 2. These are awesome cards to ramp out early, because if your opponent hasn't had a chance to do anything, you're going to make that board state really quickly, and the game's basically over before it's even begun. These are also strong with a card like Winota, if you have that or you're thinking of running that in your Boris section, because the red ones aren't humans and the tokens they make aren't humans. When they swing in, they find the white ones, which are humans, and that gives you that little bit of card advantage to push yourself over the edge and win you a game. So here we have my personal list of Rabblemaster style cards. We'll run through them quickly and I'll give you the gist of why I put them where we have. Goblin Rabblemaster for me is number 1, just in terms of the damage output that it can do over the course of the game. Also, aggressive decks tend to just have other goblins which boost this power, meaning the damage output that it will do is going to be really, really high. Second on my list is Najeela the Blade Blossom. You can pretty much ignore that Woobo text. Now, Najeela does get a bit better if you have other warriors in your cube, or if you see them when you're drafting it, because the more warriors you have, the more tokens that this makes. But even if Najeela is the only warrior on the battlefield, the first turn it will still make you a 1/1 token. If that survives, the next turn you will be attacking with 2 warriors, therefore you'll make 2 tokens. The next turn you'll make 4 tokens, that kind of thing. It doubles every time and is really, really strong. That's why it's quite high on my list. Next, we have Squee Dubious Monarch. This is on the list because this is one of the few Rabblемasters that actually has haste, so it gets its damage in super quickly while also making you the tokens. Kind of like the damage output on this is much higher the first couple of turns it comes out. It doesn't do as well later on. It doesn't snowball as well, but it's still going to be doing a lot of damage very early on. And if you can kill your opponent quickly, that's kind of what these decks want to be doing. The fact that it's a Squee card and has effectively escaped so it can keep coming back again and again means it's really good late game if you just need something to do and you need a way of pushing some more damage through if you've been like wrathed or something like that. Next we have Hanweir Garrison. Hanweir Garrison is really strong if you're expecting the game to go a little bit longer, because it's making 2 tokens every time it attacks. So unlike Squee, its damage output the first couple of turns isn't as high, but like turns 3, 4, and 5 that it's on the battlefield, if you're keeping all these tokens, it's going to be swinging through for a lot of damage. This is definitely better in more kind of tokeny style decks because it makes you more tokens than some of the other ones. I have the 2 white cards next. The reason why these are a little bit lower, like power level wise, these are still super, super strong. Like both Adeline and especially Hero of Bladehold can win games of Magic. But the fact that they have double white in their pips makes them harder to cast. They're nowhere near as easy to splash. And you really want to be playing these cards on curve. All these Rabblemaster effects are best the earlier you can play them. So that's why these are a little bit further down. But power level wise, they are really, really strong. The fact that Adeline's power also snowballs with the amount of creatures that you have is going to be really, really cool. And then Hero Bladehold buffing up your whole team is exceptional. It is a great top end to any kind of aggressive deck. Then lastly, we have Krenko, Tin Street Kingpin, and Legion Warboss. These are slightly lower just because of the damage output they do isn't as high as some of the other ones. They are still very good, and very good especially in like budget cubes if you're looking for this kind of effect. But like Goblin Rabblemaster is pricey. Hero Bladehold has got pricey recently, annoyingly. These are still really strong cards, but kind of shine a bit more in kind of lower power level settings. Now, I know there are other style of Rabblemaster cards out there. You have something like Brimaz in white, for example. For me, anything else falls below this list here. So personally, I would start with this list here and then start looking at other ones if you're thinking of including them in your own cube. So if you're thinking of including Rabblemaster style cards in your cube, which I would highly recommend, how many should you be thinking of running? The numbers on screen here are for red and for white, and they get higher the more archetypes that you think will use them. Like, if you have aggro in your cube, but you don't have like a tokens matters section, or you don't have aristocrats, run the lower end of these is what I would recommend. If you have all those archetypes, I would run the higher end of the number on the screen here. So if your cube's around the 360 size, I'd run between 2 and 4. If it's around the 540 number, I would run between 3 and 6. And if you're going up to a 720 size cube, I'd be looking to run between 5 and 8 of them. I do love me a Rabblemaster card. Again, they're just so versatile, they go into so many decks, they fill so many little holes that you didn't know you wanted. They're just a win con, they're an army, they're a game plan in a can. I'd highly recommend running them if you're not, and drafting them if you're playing Cube. Do let me know down in the comments, what's your favourite Rabblemaster? Have I missed any that you think are pretty strong? Let me know, it would be good to see them. But until next time, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.